It's now time for Energy Insights, where you get an inside view and local perspective of all the oil and gas progress going on in the Mid-Ohio Valley. This program is brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association and can be heard every Saturday on WMOA AM 1490, FM 101.3, JAWS Country FM 100.9, and ESPN Radio AM 630 and FM 92.9. Here's Johnny Wharf, your local host.
Energy Insights on a Saturday morning, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Pleased to be joined by the Executive Director of the Ohio Oil and Gas Energy Education Program, and that is George Brown, who's been on our program before, and I wanted to welcome you again, George, and maybe take a different turn this week as we take a look at fire safety, and welcome to the show once again.
Thanks, Sean. Good morning, and I appreciate the chance to be with you and be back on.
Yeah, for a little reference, George, we had Chief C.W. Durham from the Marietta Fire Department on the radio in the program last week, and in just this time of year, I think more than anything, they talk about as the time changes and it's darker and you got your heaters on and all these things that happen. And I know you guys are kind of falling into that same line. I don't know if it's on purpose time-wise or not, but talk a little bit about your program that you have coming up.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about that. I'm glad the Chief was on last week as well to talk safety, because that is the number one priority of Ohio's natural gas and oil industry, is safety. And with that lens, our organization, with the support of Ohio's natural gas and oil producers, conducts free safety training for first responders and for firefighters. So we partner with a facility in Wayne County in Northeast Ohio to do some hands-on training that's specific to gas and oil. So if you are a firefighter and you're called out to respond to some sort of incident at a gas or oil-related site, we as the industry want to make sure that those emergency responders have the proper training that they need. So our organization has what's called our Go Safer program, which is gas and oil safety awareness for emergency responders. And this training is free for Ohio's emergency responders, again, complements of the natural gas and oil industry. So we're holding an in-person training on November 20th, and there's also some virtual training seminars that go along with that. So I'd encourage any emergency responder, any firefighter who needs training, is looking for that continuing education opportunity and to get some of those credits and hands-on training, to visit our website, which is oogeep.org, where you can find out more information and get registered.
And you guys can roll out the acronyms, can't you? So you've got OOGEEP, and now we're Go Safer. And again, you rolled through that, but Go Safer, gas and oil, safety awareness for emergency responders. And again, some online stuff, and then that Wayne County's Apple Creek, right? Is that area where then you'll do the on-site stuff?
Yep, at the Wayne County Regional Fire and Rescue Training Facility in Apple Creek. It's a state-of-the-art facility in the state of Ohio. And new for this year, for 2022, we actually have training props that both apply for conventional oil and gas operations, but thanks to Ascent Resources, who donated some retired equipment, we also have the newer horizontal pieces of equipment on site. So both sort of the old school and new school, when we're talking oil and gas, that we built out training that firefighters and emergency responders can get hands-on training. It's been an award-winning program that throughout the years, firefighters from all across the state of Ohio have come to participate in. And again, the key here is education and safety, so that emergency responders can be ready when there is something to respond to, because the protection of the communities across the state is paramount for our industry, and that's why we're proud to offer this free training for Ohio's first responders.
George Brown is the Executive Director of the Ohio Oil and Gas Energy Education Program, and I love that it's free, George, but it's got to cost somebody. So do you get funding or sponsors, or how does that work for you guys?
It's actually part of our mission as an organization, so we're funded through Ohio's oil and gas industry. So it's part of one of our core pieces of our education and safety mission. So this is all free because Ohio's natural gas and oil industry have stepped up to fund a program like this to make sure that they're educating emergency responders and keeping communities safe. And again, can find out more information at oogeep.org. Click on the firefighter tab, and you'll get a lot of good information there and learn more about the program.
Yeah, and I'll drop that phone number for folks here in a minute as well. But the program is Go Safer, Gas and Oil Safety Awareness for Emergency Responders, and you can contact UJEEP at 740-587-0410. Our guest is George Brown, and we'll dig into this a little deeper, encouraging our first responders to take advantage of this free training. And George, I thank you, as always, for your time and just making us a little smarter about the industry, and wish you the best for the rest of the weekend.
Thank you, John, and thanks for helping us get this information out to Ohio's first responder community.
Energy Insights on a Saturday morning, and again, George Brown is our guest. He's the Executive Director of the Ohio Oil and Gas Education Program, and last week we touched on this gas and oil safety awareness for emergency responders, and something that's coming up on the 20th is the in-person hands-on training, and it's held at Wayne County Fire and Rescue Regional Training Facility, which is Apple Creek, Ohio, and then some online training leading up to that. And so, George, I think, again, welcome to the show, and the idea that we can think about what we're going to do, we can talk about what we're going to do, we can look at it online, but until, no pun intended, but your feet is to the fire, this hands-on stuff is so critical to be able to get into a place, if it's a retired oil field or whatever it is, and get out there and actually get into it.
Yeah, thanks, Sean, for having me back on. I appreciate the chance to get this information out to Ohio's emergency responder community and fire service community. Ohio's natural gas and oil industry takes safety as the number one core value of what they do when they're out working every day, and that means partnering and educating with safety training for Ohio's emergency responders. And that's why we've rebranded and relaunched the firefighter training that we do, as you said, Go Safer, the Gas and Oil Safety Awareness for Emergency Responders program. It's coming up in just a few weeks, so we are getting ready for that on the 20th. As you mentioned, it's a hybrid of in-person training on the 20th, but also we have open some virtual modules that emergency responders can take at the leisure of their own pace. So you can go to our website, oogeep.org, and find out more and get registered. But we have topics that include the fundamentals of natural gas and oil, safety and hazmat, H2S awareness, conventional production, unconventional production, storage, processing, and transportation of petroleum products, responding to an emergency, as you mentioned, if you're called out, and then our hands-on evolution day that we're doing on the 20th. So a really robust portion of modules and curriculum that go out. But again, the core value here is making sure that Ohio's emergency responders have the education and safety training they need, so if they're called to something in the field, they're ready to respond to keep communities safe. George
Brown, the Executive Director of UJEEP, the Ohio Oil and Gas Energy Education Program, and talk a little bit, I guess, George, so UJEEP is a product of the members, right? I guess your oil and gas producers, and these are teaching programs and workshops and research, and I know we talked about scholarships for folks getting into the industry. I've seen you at the different fairs when we go out, and now we're into this fire training, and so is that kind of the mission as this goes forward in terms of an education program to kind of hit all facets?
It absolutely is. We are the education and safety program for Ohio's natural gas and oil energy industry in the state. So you mentioned the more outward-facing educational components of being in classrooms and providing free STEM education, energy materials to Ohio students and teachers. But this Go Safer piece is a key piece of what we do on the education and safety side. And this is all made free to Ohio's first responders, and all of the services we provide are made free because of the funding that is provided by Ohio's natural gas and oil industry. And they provide it because they believe in safety and education. And that, again, is paramount to everything that this industry does in the state, in addition to providing the essential Ohio energy that we rely on every day. Making communities smarter and safer is a key priority for the industry, and they fund this program to offer these services free of charge to Ohioans.
Yeah, so I would tell our listeners, if you're in the industry or you're a first responder, the best way to do is just to go to the WJAW.org and hit on the Go Safer tab and find out about this gas and oil safety awareness for emergency responders. But so it's 2022, so many ways. I've looked at the site, there's Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all these different ways to connect and find out what might be important to you in your industry as it relates to the oil and gas industry. And this program, again, the online portion of it through the 18th, and then the in-person portion of it on the 20th. And George, maybe just an idea. So when I assume there's instructors that are part of the program that are there that you kind of lay it out and say, this is the way to do it, now let's go do it?
Exactly correct. So we have the instructors on site up in Apple Creek on the 20th that will go through the varying in-person training sessions there. And then we've had industry experts, subject matter experts, build out the virtual curriculum as well. And again, this is all made free, and there's nothing else like it in the country that really hones in on the various topics that are reviewed through this. And it's in-depth, robust, and very informative and educational for first responders. Again, would encourage anybody to take a look at our website, oogeep.org, or you can always call us at 740-587-0410. If you're a first responder, if you know somebody in the fire service, please spread the word on this critical training that can help protect Ohio communities.
oogeep.org, 740-587-0410. George Brown, our guest, Executive Director of the Ohio Oil and Gas Energy Education Program, and open registration now for the Go Safer training for first responders. And we thank you for your time. George, as always, really good insights, and wish you the best.
Thank you for helping us drive awareness on this important program, John.
Energy Insights brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association.
Thank you for listening to Energy Insights, brought to you by the Southeastern Ohio Oil and Gas Association. Tune in every Saturday morning on WMOA Local Radio, JAWS Country, and ESPN Radio, as Johnny Wharf brings you your local and inside perspectives going on in the oil and gas industry right here in the Mid-Ohio Valley.